COVID, tech is so hands-on, right? Like, how have you been able to reach your kids and do the things that you need to do at Kendesi for your own kids in this virtual world?
So the thing is, I kind of had to reshape how I looked at computer science. I really, March was a little bit more of a surprise. So that was a little more trial and error. But I really, was very intentional this summer of looking at, the kind of doing some research about what computer science was about. Read a book, George Valenzuela, longtime tech teacher, wrote a book about specifically on the things, what you should be kind of getting K through 5 involved in. Because the blessing is that there's so many websites and resources that are trying to get kids to code. But like you said, with COVID, it's a very different aspect because it's like, okay, well, you're looking at a website, I'm looking at a website, how do we get this across? And say, okay, well, Hicks, let's look at, pull it away from the coding. What are the skills you want the kids to get? Yeah. And then it's kind of, okay, well, what is the HBCU thing, the time we've infused it, because in the past, it really wasn't infused with the computer science. It was more like the website, the digital literacy piece. And I said, but they love that. Like that was the band videos and, everything else was amazing. Like they loved the whole, aspect of the culture and things like that. So I said, well, let's look at how do we build these units? So we started this project that kind of spanned over the year where the kids design their own HBCUs. Mm-hmm. And so where it may not be as much like, let's program this, and this, it was like, so what are the things that we look at? How do we decompose this problem? What are some of the parts of a campus that you would want? So the same skills that they would use to break down and to create JavaScript programs or robotics, we used. So that was kind of like the overarching piece to kind of, again, bring them into the middle, meet them where they are. Yep. And once they felt a little bit more comfortable taking on those tasks, then we tied in, okay, well, now we're going to do, like we did the Coders robotics site. So how would you design a robot to help with the problem on your campus? What would be one thing that your robots, we used Tinkercad for the kids to get an opportunity to do the 3D printing. But of course, we weren't able to actually print the pieces out. The great part about that was they ended up with a model of their HBCU campus. Yeah. So it was like, let me try to get as many skills in as I can. And then, we just kind of, the ones that we can't. But I mean, I think that the idea of the overarching theme helped kids to stay engaged. And then they also had a lot of choice. So the kids had to choose. We had about 7 or 8 things on our choice board, ways they could represent their campus. Yeah. Everything from creating a social media campaign to, because again, I wanted them to see, it's not all coding. There's a big market so allowing that student choice really helped the kids. So I met with kids in small groups. Hey, my digital design kids, you're going to come on Monday. My coding, the kids that are going to code a, Scratch video game with an HBCU character, y'all meet with me on Tuesday. So it really allowed the kids to kind of come in and say, this is your time to become interested in something. So this is not me, Coach Hicks pulling teeth. Yeah. This is you saying, hey, and it's been amazing. I mean, I love it. The campus. I'm just so excited to invite y'all next quarter to this college
fair. I can't wait. No, that is really dope. I love that. And I love that you said choice because we always talk about how choice really it sparks that interest and it keeps them engaged when they have the opportunity to not be forced to do something or forced on a particular topic, but they can really choose it and then make it their own, which is fantastic.
But I think that's the great part about specials, though. Like the thing with specials teachers over this, I think I had a kid that told me, he's like, Coach Hicks, you are like the feel-good teachers, and which I love that distinction. I am so grateful for our core class teachers and the amount of but they have so much put on them because, the subjects are tested and but I love the magic that we're able to make in our specials classes. I mean, the kids I think that's really kind of where they find their passion about things. We're able to have a little bit more fun. So
yeah, that's dope. Cleverly Beverly, thank you so much for sharing this live with 5 people and dropping that check mark. We appreciate you. April says, I love that Coach Hicks includes the HBCU culture piece at each and every school. He even did this in a school with a primarily white student body. It was a great thing. So this is not only something that you are finding that's important for the culture, which is great, but you're infusing this HBCU love and awareness even in predominantly white environments also.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a fabric of community. I think that's one of the biggest, misconceptions about diversity is that, we have to expose, minority children to with just the climate of our world. And what we have to start doing with our kids is that everybody has to have a seat at the table, right? We can't have one table and have people are spectating from the, so, just like my Black students, which I want them to do, learn about Georgia Tech and Georgia State, all of it's just as important because so many of my children, that's the beauty of HBCUs. I could think of one student that April and I, both taught at Mary Lynn, who I know he's going to an HBCU. I just know it because but not necessarily, because their race ever even entered his mind, but he's a kid who thrives on teacher interaction, so he's going to thrive somewhere where his professor is like, excuse me, I haven't seen you. So, but I think that's how we really kind of get the word. I mean, maybe that's thinking too idealistically, but the way we kind of make these things start to gel back together is once we show people, like, so many of our cultures have so many commonplaces, but exposure is everything.
Exposure is everything. It's key, really, really is. So I want you to drop a pro tip for us because you mentioned Tinkercad, and it got me thinking, like, okay, you're in tech, you've got all the tools, all the technology to it. So I'm like, for the teachers and educators that are watching who are like, what are some of the things that he's using in his classroom that I should probably consider incorporating if I'm not a tech teacher or I might be a tech teacher, but drop a pro tip for us. What's that one tech tip or resource or tool that you're using that you think, look, y'all need to know about this. Go ahead and incorporate this in your class today.
Okay, I'm going to give y'all two, Kirk. I got you. I got a bonus for y'all tonight. So I would say the first thing that is I think during the pandemic is find your lane. Find what works for you, and definitely, stay in your comfort zone. If you are really, really strong at 2 or 3 applications, and that's going to help you, because the thing of it is that if you're uncomfortable with it, the kids are going to not be comfortable with it. Like, no matter how well you instruct us, I think, definitely pick a few that work. I would say one of the ones that, it's tough. I'm like, wow, okay, let me think.
I don't even know which one to tell y'all because I got so many that I use all the time.
I'm like, okay. So, I would say probably overall, my biggest would be, I would probably have to go with the G Suite. And the only reason I say that because it's all encompassing. And I love the way, especially I said teaching littles and getting them signed on. The thing I love about Google is kind of like a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
So, Meet, Classroom, a lot of that stuff. And I love a lot of the things that they've been doing with, I hear it, Flipgrid. Absolutely. Hands down. Flipgrid. Student engagement. I was trying to think of, what do you use every day? So I love I'm huge on student voice. I love the fact that Flipgrid works. It allows you to check student understanding. We've done some really cool family engagements where the parents came and talked about HBCUs. But the thing I love is that it allows kids who I would never hear from. I think that, again, one of the benefits of this virtual learning is that the amount of participation. I mean, I've heard kids' voices who I'm like, who? Wait, what?
Right.
That's what you sound like? But I mean, I love the fact, they've really gone to, like, now they have a microphone only feature. The kids can, do cool stuff with they can put emojis over there. I mean, it's nice. I love the fact that it's designed with every child in mind. Wow. They can record their screen. So the student agency, yeah. But close second would be G Suite, but definitely Google.
I was about to say, look, you're the Google expert. So if I was expecting that you would probably drop Google in there because I see you tweeting about Google, Instagramming about Google, like that's your lane, but Flipgrid is definitely dope as well. So appreciate that, gem.
Absolutely.
Melissa Knowles in the building. What's going on, Melissa? Appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you so much. I'll be tuning in to your show as well. Wait. Oh, that was yesterday. I got to watch the recap. Okay. Hello from Saudi Arabia. Appreciate you for joining us. And so Mr. Byrne has a question in here that I want to pull up on the screen right here. All right. So he says, what advice would you give to non-BIPOC computer science teachers that want to diversify their curriculum?
So I would say the short answer for that one is content.
Yeah.
So what I had to realize is that one of the best things that, and I would say for teachers who use or that would like to infuse a little bit more culture into computer science is make sure that you're using a tool or a website or an app that has a sandbox. And sandbox is just a computer science fancy term for like where the kids can go free code. So it's not a tutorial. It's just the commands are kind of given an opportunity where the code will go ahead and run its course. And the reason I say that is because a lot of the where I had to do with computer to infuse the code was take a lot of the concepts or take a little bit of code.org, take a little bit of Scratch, take a little bit of this. But with my students, their projects, so they learn through the tutorials, and then how they, show what they know was where we infused the culture. So we did one, for example, they had to do a project with Scratch, but instead of just kind of making it general, they had to research, a Black woman in the civil rights struggle, or again, how we incorporate the HBCU stuff. So they're still learning about loops and, a lot of the concepts that you learn with code.org, but then we transfer that into this blank slate. Okay, now you need to the same things that you learn how to, use, variables and functions and all these different things to build a generic program. All you have to really kind of do is just, figure out where you want to put in that cultural relevance piece, because they're still doing the computer science. They're still learning how to code. They're still learning how to build websites. But a lot of the curriculum that you'll find is very generic. So it's like, build a website about your cat. Well, we're not doing that today. So today, we're going to learn about, Clark Atlanta University.
I love
and then
that.
your job is going to be, the web designer at CAU. So if you had to design a website for the HBCU of your choice, or you had to design a website for, I did with my fifth graders at Mary Lynn, for the civil rights movement. If let's pretend like web design, moved back, 30, 40 years. So what would you do? How would you advertise a boycott? What would be the ways that you would? So again, there's all the same skill set, all the same standards, but you just add that piece, and your social studies teacher will love you. Like, Coach Hicks, oh my God.
Right.
I got you here. These standards, boom, we good. So.
Exactly. No, I love that you layered that cultural relevance piece, because why does it have to be so basic? You said, like, nah, why is the curriculum the standard basic curriculum about, okay, building this about a cat? Nah, bro.
But that's what we're losing Black kids, because the thing of it is that if I'm not seeing myself, right, represented in a video game, you putting a video game in my face and saying, hey, this is the way to get you excited, you're still missing the ball. Like, those kids are like Angry Birds. Like, for me in fifth grade, if you told me, okay, Angry Birds, and this is computer science, I would have been like, no.
Right. So, how do we make it relevant?
And I think, when kids see themselves in, and like I said, it's with education changing so much, unfortunately, a lot of times kids don't get as much of social studies and that cultural piece that we would like for them to get. So it's like, hey, if I can do my part and make this a little bit more meaningful, and help them, get excited about it, then I think it's a win-win.
Wow. Bro, you have so many gems, so much knowledge. I mean, thank you so much for just dropping this. I mean, somebody here in the comments said, love me some Coach Hicks, selfless with his knowledge and talents. I mean, that is so true. Appreciate you for just, sharing, all that you have up here that you've been able to learn, bro.
Hey, we got to get these kids. As I tell my students, I'm like, listen, Coach Hicks is trying to retire. I need all you all to be successful, because I am packing my bags, and everybody gets a month. I've taught for 20 years. When I did my calculations, if I do one child's house a month, I'm good. Mm-hmm. Wow. Everybody needs to Google, Microsoft, all the things.
All the things. Look, the things. Sigma Gems, Spring 94. Thanks, Coach Hicks. Elijah was not interested in any HBCUs, but now has applied to 3 just because you talked to him about HBCU or about CAU. So, look, I mean, all the testimonials in the comments. I mean, look, change the lives.
Y'all have folks getting emotional on this live now. Kirk, I told you I wasn't trying to be able to look crazy. So, no, but her son, extreme. She was another teacher, colleague of mine at Lynn, and her son, extremely, extremely creative. And again, that's like, for me, I just knew, when she was telling me some of the things, he was going, dealing with in high school, and I'm just like, he needs, because they're going to get him at HBCU. Somebody's going to make sure that, all of these moments that he wasn't, because again, great kid. Just a brilliant mind. But I'm like, he needs somebody to take him and say, you're going to be okay. We got you. We might stumble a little bit. Let's push you back, because we still have this creativity. You got to do this. You have to do this. And I'm that. Oh my goodness, that is such good news.
Wow. Grace Jones news. Don't cry. Who's Grace Jones? Okay, that might be another story.
That's probably one of my Cadesi folks. During our Grace Jones is typically my answer during our staff. We always have our staff check-ins in the morning. So yeah.
You gotta do. No, that's awesome. So, bro, it's been a pleasure talking with you tonight. There is so much more that we can, go off and talk about and just to learn from you. But I appreciate you for, wetting our tongue with the knowledge that you have so that we can continue to learn more and continue this conversation. And you always are on Twitter, live and direct. And so let the people know how to keep up with you.
Coach Hicks 1914 is follow at your own risk. I will say that.
Look, he's not one to hold his tongue, and he's talking about the issues that are important to all of us, especially in education. And so we appreciate you for being a voice because it takes courage. And just thank you for sure.
I am in great company. I was gonna say just as much as you guys love me coming. I love coming to RC. I think even some of those kids I met that first year, it's like I taught it myself. I'm like, wait a minute, Hicks, you. Oh my God. Mason's graduating. I can't believe it.
I mean, you're a part of our family, bro.
Hey, I a welcome addition. I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, we can't wait when we open our doors back up and you can come back through and, we see you working with the
we got to get some, I know my stepping, yes, I need dusty stepping boots off. That has probably been the one thing. Somebody was just telling somebody, I'm like, I didn't realize how much ball. I knew I loved it. But, until it's gone, it's like, okay, y'all, come on, let's just one-step show.
Yo, this man be stepping like he does not skip a beat. Like he's out here killing it. The precision is still there. Like don't play around with Coach Hicks.
I'm sure there's generations of essentials that are like, okay, here he is.
But no, you are always, like everyone is saying in the comments, man. Like you pour into the students, and you always give such good advice and feedback, and not only on like how they become better steppers, but just better human beings as young adults and growing. So we appreciate you for being a part of our community, our family.
Thank you.
We appreciate you and love you, bro.
I love y'all too. Hey, it's definitely, like I said, feelings definitely mutual. I cannot wait until this is over so we can get back and come see you all. I've definitely missed my time at RCA, so
good.
Looking forward to it.
So one more time, how can people keep up with you on all your social handles? Go ahead and let people know how they can continue to keep up with the things that you're doing and how they can support you.
Cool. So I usually all things Coach Hicks. Twitter is Coach Hicks 1914, and Instagram is Coach Hicks Class. Both all no spaces in either one. And yeah, I'm usually there. I mean, I love sharing what I know and learning from other teachers. So if and again, also too, I want to before we go, even if you're a core content teacher, there's so many ways to infuse computer science into what you're doing in the classroom. And that's not even just math. I mean, social studies, ELA, there's so many different ways. So, I mean, teachers, it is definitely an open door policy because I was fortunate enough to have so many teachers that poured into me my first year doing this.
Yeah.
I think it's important. Very important.
Very important.
So, yeah, tweet me. I'm here.
Tweet me. I'm here. Make sure y'all.
I am here.
We're going to post this live immediately after this, so let's continue the conversations. If you have questions for Coach Hicks, if you're watching this playback and you're like, hey, I had a question about this, it sparked this idea, go ahead and drop it in the comments, and we'll continue the conversation on IG. We appreciate you, Coach Hicks, for tuning in or for being a guest tonight on Amplify Black Voices, and we appreciate all of you for joining us and lighting up the comments. Y'all were on fire tonight. Look, Coach Hicks, you brought
Thank you.
You brought
Kurt, go get your potato, Kurt. I'm be waiting. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna talk to Mrs. Brown. I'm not gonna fool with you. I know that's what I need to. She'll get the potatoes. I'm sure she'll make sure that you get yours.
Okay. Oh man! All right, y'all. Well, have a great holiday. Have a Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. All that good stuff. We appreciate you for joining us.
Wally, all the things.
All the things. And have a great weekend. And we'll see you next time on Amplify Black Voices. Peace.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for coming in.
All right, y'all. Have a good night.
All right.